Hey, welcome back to another episode. My name is David. Welcome to Whiskey Row. Today, we're doing a five-way blind, and it is a 10-year whiskey blind. The way this works is that we have members of our community that sometimes send us blinds for us. They send us essentially a bunch of samples with an answer key. This one is from Nathan. Nathan, thank you so much for sending this. He said it's a 10-year blind, so I'm guessing it's 10-year whiskey in here. From Nathan, this is all sealed up. We will open it up later. That is the answer key. That's how I'm going to find out what I'm drinking. And here are the sample bottles that he sent to us, 2-ounce samples. Thank you. That was very generous, Nathan. We do them for a couple of reasons. One is when it's fully blind and we don't know what it is. I mean, obviously I know it's 10-year blinds, 10-year bourbons, but when we do these blinds, it's very, very helpful because it really kind of eliminates bias and it allows me to just talk about the flavors I'm getting without knowing the context. So it's with the flavors I'm truly getting, and I don't know the context, so I can, when I rank them, I don't know which is my favorite, which is not my favorite. I don't know which is a Michter's 10-year or which is a what's another, just Russell's 10-year, right? And I can actually give you my honest opinion, and that I think is very, very valuable. Now, let us get these poured up and we will dive right into it. I've got my flight board right here and 5 beautiful Glencairns. This is pretty fluffy on the nose. A nice marshmallow, a little bit of caramel, some char. There's a little bit of an almond extract kind of quality to it. It's not very strong though. I just got a little bit of a musty barrel on that one. Overall, it smells pretty good and smells kind of like I would expect for a good 10-year whiskey. Wow, that has an absolutely beautiful cherry note on it. Nice little proof point. Haven't had much to drink tonight, so my proof is going to be a little off at first, but nice little proof point. A little bit of a Kentucky hug, not much, but just a little bit. Beautiful cherry note. Very, very syrupy on the palate. So you get a really kind of a cherry note. Some beautiful floral note in there too. Yeah, so this is really, really nice. Very nice fruity quality. Very kind of a cherry, a light cherry. It's not like a dark, rich. It's more of a light cherry. And then some nice floral notes. A little bit of an oak presence, but it's not too strong. Overall, I'm really, really impressed with it. Let's go to the next one. A little bit of almost like a clover, green clover kind of thing. It's a little musty. It's really pretty though. Like it's really dense and sweet. I'd probably say the sweetness, a little bit of a proof point. I'm not sure if it's higher or lower than the first yet, but a little bit of a proof point. And that dark richness, I would say it tends to be more caramel, but there's a little bit of this kind of, a little bit of like a honey and almost a butterscotch on it. But that earthiness really comes through and it's really rich. It's really, really nice. Now this has a little bit of an interesting profile. There's a little bit of a, what I would call kind of an almond extract right up front. Nuttiness, a little bit of a nutty quality to it. Super thick and viscous on the palate. Very, very thick and viscous. A little bit of a dark plum. It's really nice. It's super, super, what would you call that? It's not peanutty, but it's got this like the nut quality and it mixes with this kind of plum fruitiness. Super viscous, super good. That's very, very nice. Now this one's a little bit less rich and dense on the nose. I'd almost say it's a little bit like a dried sandalwood with a little bit of caramel, mild vanilla, a little bit of a dusty kind of quality to it. Not too proofy though. Oh wow, that's got some kind of like maltiness to it. Ooh, and there's this little bit of a charcoal. I don't mean charcoal, it's almost like a cooked meat quality to it. Wow. Very like chewy, very thick, lots of caramel there. But there's this little bit of almost like a honey ham. That is wild. I can't think of what that could be. So it's a little bit like a honey ham, some caramel. It's really thick and viscous. I don't know what that is, but that is really, really interesting. Not your normal bourbon character. It's got a little bit more of that kind of smoky meat quality, which you get on some barrels when they're super toasty in some ways. Not toasted, that's not true, but in like a double oaky kind of thing. Sometimes I get those, but it's very, very rare. It's very unique, very interesting. Moving on to the next one. Ooh, this one's really toasty, like toasted marshmallow. Oh, that's really nice. Toasted marshmallow, graham cracker, a little bit of chocolate, very s'moresy on the nose. There's a very faint, like little bit of like pie crust. A little bit of, like I said, caramels there. The marshmallow, toasted marshmallow. It smells really nice. There's also this kind of interesting dark bitterness to it. It's not off-putting, but it's just the kind of a dark character you get from like a char barrel, like an older char barrel. You get a little bit of a mild black licorice. There's this very, what is that soda? Almost like a cheer wine on the palate. A little bit of effervescence. Kind of a dry cherry soda thing going on. Ooh, little anise thing going on too. Lots of baking spice on that one. Some clove. Yeah, clove, allspice, anise, black licorice. All right, this last one though, look at this thing. It's not the darkest. This middle one was the darkest, the one that had that smoked meat quality to it. I mean, if I look at them, yeah, that's the first darkest. This is probably the second darkest, third, fourth, and fifth. That's what the color looks like to me. Oh, this is musty. Barrel. This is barrel char. A nice kind of, it's kind of weird. It's like this off-putting age note. Dust. I mean, I'm saying all these things that they don't smell good, but I promise you this smells awesome. There's a thing that happens on bourbon when it gets to a certain age. If it's aged well, it's aged properly, and you get these age notes. A little bit of a leather, to be honest. This one definitely starts coming through some of those age notes. There's a little bit of a dry graininess, but it's very, very mild. Overall, I really like the nose on this one. It's not particularly sweet, but it's also not spicy or proofy. It's just very kind of like compact and put together well. I thought it was something, and now on the palate, I'm getting something totally different. On the nose, it smelled like a Michter's, and on the palate, it smells like a Jack Daniel's. It's very oaky. Getting a little bit of a nuttiness there. But it doesn't, the proofiness seems much higher than like a Jack Daniel's 10-year. Those things are only, what, 96 proof maybe? And this comes across a lot hotter than that on the palate, so I don't think it's a Jack Daniel's. But from a flavor experience perspective, that's what it reminds me of. There's a faint nuttiness. Could be, sometimes I get those nutty notes on a Heaven Hill, so it could be like an Elijah Craig barrel proof maybe. I shouldn't be guessing. I should just be focusing on the flavor notes. But for whatever reason, when I start doing this, I'm just like, oh, I want to try to guess what it is, because that's like, you know, if you can actually peg the bottle. There's a lot of caramel, very, very viscous mouthfeel. Does seem to be a little bit higher proof than 10-year offerings from Jack Daniel's, which maybe it's one of the Elijah Craig private barrel 10 years, private barrels that come across as it, or that are age dated for 10 years. Could be one of those maybe. All right, one of the things that I find fascinating in bourbon is that when you start sipping on one and you start to really get into it, you experience the flavors a couple times in a row, it changes. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about it. None of these whiskeys tonight was bad. These are all really, really nice whiskeys. Whiskeys that I tend to really, really like. But I guess I should just reveal my opinions and then we'll go from there. So coming in fifth place is the one I started to get this weird flavoring quality to. Not a bad whiskey necessarily, but as I kind of keep coming back to it, it's like it's good. It's got some nice like peanut brittle, a little bit of kind of a dark caramel, like a charred caramel. And then right at the end, it goes to this interesting, like off-putting flavoring taste. I don't know what to say about it other than that. Coming in fourth place tonight is my ham sandwich. It's not really a ham sandwich, but it tastes like smoked meats. And I had ribs for dinner tonight. And this has a little bit of that charry, peaty quality to it. I like it a lot, but it's a little funky and it's hard for me to put it higher ranked than some of these other ones, frankly. Coming in third place tonight is this one. Now I'm starting to get this a little bit more malty cereal grain. Maybe kind of an old Carter vibe a little bit. Hard to say. It's good. I like it. Third place. I mean, it's it's a good place. But anyway, moving on. This one I really liked up front. It had this very interesting kind of cherry note to it. I'm gonna call this my second place tonight. The cherry almost comes across a little orange now, which is, at first it was this cherry thing, which was really, really good with a lot of herbal, like fruit, like a herbal floral quality. Now it's more of like cherries with like orange crush. I like it a lot. I think it's really, really good. It's hard for me to guess what that one is. But anyway, first place tonight is this one. I thought it was a standout. I think it's really, really nice. I have no idea what it is. This is my ranking. This is a really nice blind. Some very, very interesting 10-year whiskeys. Thank you so much, Nathan, again, for sending this out to me. Now it is time to open the envelope. Open the envelope and figure out what the rankings are. So coming in, I don't want to look at them yet. So coming in 5th place is Rebel 10-year. Rebel 10-year. 4th place right here in the middle is Heaven's Door 10-year. Okay, I've got a Heaven's Door 10-year. I've never gotten smoked meat on it before. I bet you anything this Heaven's Door 10-year is Dickel sourced, because that meaty quality, I bet you that's more Flintstone vitamin. I bet you that's what that is. Okay, so lesson learned. I'm guessing this is Heaven's Door. I'm guessing it's Dickel Tennessee whiskey. Could be wrong. But yeah, that'd be my guess. Coming in 3rd place over here at the bottom is Barrel Bourbon Batch 28. This is... sorry, I'm looking at Nathan's notes on the thing for 3rd place. He said maybe Dickel, so he's on. Yeah, he was in it. Spot on. We're thinking the same thing, Nathan. I think that might be Dickel sourced. This one is Barrel Bourbon Batch 28. 108.86 proof, sourced from Indiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky, so it's a blend as well. Coming in 2nd place tonight is Wyoming Whiskey 10-year. Now that blows my mind. I have not liked Wyoming whiskey at all, and so I'm very, very shocked that this one came in 2nd place tonight. It is really nice. MSRP of $200. That is steep for this one. I saw the Wyoming Whiskey 10-year bottle in Georgia for $200, and I passed on it because I didn't think it was worth it. That's really, really good whiskey. I don't know if it's worth $200 good, but that's some darn good juice right here. I like this one a lot. And then coming in 1st place tonight is Redemption High Rye 10-year, 114.4 proof 10-year MGP, 60 corn, 36 rye, 4 barley. That spiciness from the high rye is just killing everything. It is the most interesting, the most complex. It is not the most expensive. It's $100 retail. So it's basically the cheapest is Barrel at $85. This is Rebel is $109. Heaven's Door at $100. Redemption at $100. And Wyoming at $200. If you enjoy this content here on Whiskey Row, definitely check out our other channel. Jamie and I have a 2nd channel called Beyond the Row. We do tons of blind tastings over there. Jamie does some cocktail stuff. It's a lot of fun. So if you like this kind of thing, check that out. We appreciate our patrons. We're so, so grateful for all that you do to support us. And hey, with that being said, this was a great blind. I appreciate all of you. Until next time, find a bottle you love.